Hello, brothers and sisters. I'm Sister Ann Shields, and welcome to Food for the Journey. First reading today is from the prophet Ezekiel, chapter 47. The angel brought me, Ezekiel, back to the entrance of the temple of the Lord, and I saw water flowing out from beneath the threshold of the temple toward the east, for the facade of the temple was toward the east. The water flowed down from the right side of the temple south of the altar. This angel led me outside by the north gate and around to the outer gate facing the east, where I saw water trickling from the right side. And then when he had walked off to the east with a measuring cord in his hand, he measured off 1,000 cubits and had me wade through the water which was ankle deep. He measured off another 1,000 and once more had me wade through the water which was now knee deep. Again he measured off 1,000 and had me wade. The water was up to my waist. Once more he measured off 1,000, but there was now a river through which I could not wade, for the water had risen so high it had become a river that could not be crossed except by swimming. He asked me, "Have you seen this, Son of Man?" And then he brought me to the bank of the river where he had me sit. And along the bank of the river I saw very many trees on both sides. He said to me, "This water flows into the eastern district down upon the Arabah and empties into the sea, the salt waters, which it makes fresh. Whenever the river flows, every sort of living creature that can multiply shall live, and there shall be abundant fish for whoever or wherever this water comes, the sea shall be made fresh. Along both banks of the river, fruit trees of every kind shall grow. Their leaves shall not fade, nor their fruit fail. Every month they shall bear fresh fruit, for they shall be watered by the flow from the sanctuary. Their fruit shall serve for food, and their leaves for medicine." What is this water? It is the living water flowing from the side of Christ. He poured himself out literally to the last drop for your salvation and mine. This water gives life. This water makes salt water fresh. This water penetrates the arid desert. Whatever state we're in, brothers and sisters, spiritually, the living water from the side of Christ restores and makes new and refreshes and quenches. Don't drink from other water supplies. It will infect you. Drink from the fountain of living water. Drink from the water from the side of Christ. This is Lent. This is a time to acknowledge that we're thirsty, that we're starving, because we are. If we don't have Christ at the center of our lives, there is some way we're starving, even if we think we're doing just fine. We need to drink from the water of Christ. We need to feed on the Eucharist. We need to drink his precious blood if we want true life and life that will last forever. The Lord of hosts is with us. Our stronghold is the God of Jacob. He's our refuge, our strength, our help in distress. There is a stream, says Psalm 46, whose runlets gladden the city of God, the holy dwelling of the Most High. There is a stream. It's a stream that flows from the heart of Christ. And the Gospel of John, chapter 5, verses 1 to 16. There was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is in Jerusalem at the sheep gate a pool called in Hebrew Bethesda, with 5 porticos. In these lay a large number of ill, blind, lame, and crippled. One man was there who had been ill for 38 years. Some of you, brothers and sisters, maybe even today listening to this program, have been ill for 38 years or more. The illness of sin, the illness of darkness, the illness of deprivation and separation from God. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had been ill for a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be well?" And that's a question. There are many of us so deep in sin that we don't even recognize that there's another way of life. We've so closed ourselves off to the life-giving water that we've made a life that excludes him totally. Jesus is the source of life. He is the water of life, and he is there if you but turn to him. One man was there who had been ill for 38 years. How many years, perhaps, have you been ill? Not even recognized it. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had been ill for a long time, he said, "Do you want to be well?" You'd say that's a ridiculous question. No, it isn't, especially when it's spiritual. Even when it's physical, sometimes we can so adapt to our physical disability that we no longer want to be well. It's not even on our horizon. We think it's impossible, and therefore we don't even look for it. Whatever category you may be in because of sin, there is a way we can separate ourselves from healing and from the health that God wants to give us. The sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up. While I am on my way, someone else gets down there before me." Can you imagine the frustration of this man? He wants it, but he can't get there. And he probably had given up sometimes, which is why Jesus asked him, "Do you want to be well?" Maybe he had given up hope. Would be logical that he would. Not right, but somewhat logical if you look at simply human logic. Jesus said to him, "Rise, take up your mat and walk." Immediately the man became well, took up his mat, and walked. 2 little sentences, but a life-changing moment. God wants to do that for you, and God wants to use you to help that happen for others as well. It's not just the physical illness. The far greater illness is the spiritual crippling, the spiritual paralysis that we don't even ask anymore to be made well. Now that day was a Sabbath, and so the Jews said to the man who was cured, "It's the Sabbath. It's not lawful for you to carry your mat." And he answered him, "The man who made me well told me, 'Take up your mat and walk.'" And they asked him, "Who is the man who told you, 'Take it up and walk'?" The man who was healed did not know who it was, for Jesus had slipped away, since there was a crowd there. And after this, Jesus found him in the temple area and said to him, "Look, you are well. Do not sin any more, so that nothing worse may happen to you." Now in this case, in some way his sin, it's not always the case, but in his case and in many, many cases, sin contributes to illness. Sin contributes to downright paralysis. It can. And Jesus says to this man, "Look, you are well. Do not sin anymore, so that nothing worse may happen to you." Don't walk back into the circumstances that led you into sin. Don't go back to the circumstances that caused you so much difficulty and think, well, maybe this time it'll be better. When we look at it from a sin point of view, maybe this time I won't succumb. I just want to be in that environment, whatever it might be, but I won't succumb. I won't sin. Please, brothers and sisters, don't dupe yourself. Don't do that. You've got far more intelligence than that. If you step into the fire, if you even put your hand too close to the fire, you get burned. And translate that into the spiritual. Temptations are all around us. But Jesus comes to give life. He comes to give healing. He comes to give wholeness. But the choice is ours, whether we're going to accept him or whether we're going to go back to our old lifestyle or whether we're going to try to do the awful thing of straddling the old lifestyle and the new, a little of this and a little of that. It won't work, brothers and sisters. God asks for a radical choice. He doesn't just say, "Follow me for today." He says, "Come, follow me. Come, be my disciple. Come, walk with me." And that's not just an invitation, as I said, for a day or for an event. This is a call for a lifetime change. And anyone who has made that decision and lived it out will tell you, life is good because God is with me, because his love is with me, because his forgiveness is with me. I delight in the Lord. I delight, says the psalmist, I delight in the law of the Lord. Brothers and sisters, God has so much for us. So much for us. This man was seeking to go into that water because it had miraculous powers of some kind, or at least people thought it did. But it's Jesus, brothers and sisters, it's Jesus who's the living water. Any water that's holy is water that's sanctified by Christ's presence. You want the holy water. You want to drink from his side. You want to bathe in the waters of his forgiveness and his mercy. You want to cover yourself with the water of life. So drink deeply from him, and you will know healing. I guarantee it, because Christ himself has promised that. Put aside all the other things you've tried. Choose him and know life in him. God bless you.